In the last 24 hours, the tragedy that occurred in Gwoza, Borno State, has led to several deaths, injuries, and losses. But tonight, Babajide Ogunsowo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is here to share more insights about the implications of this recent event. Thank you very much, Babajide. And we must say it's a really sad trend happening right now, especially condolences to the families and victims of that sad incident. But the trend of suicide bombings has been on the decline before now. I mean, female suicide bombers attacked Gwoza. Is there any clue as to what happened?
First, like you said, Anne, this is even beyond a sad event. This was an evil act, not a religious act, an evil act. The second is, I'm shocked. The third and final is, I'm not surprised. Why am I shocked and not surprised? Let's take a look at the timeline of events, the most significant events in Gwoza in the last decade, because it will allow us to clearly keep an eye on what exactly has happened and why this exactly suicide bombing is happening at this point in time. And if you take a look at exactly what has happened since 2014, remember there were reports of religious killings between February and May. The third emir of Gwoza was killed, was murdered by terrorists after he had condemned Boko Haram activities in May 2014. Let's not forget that on the 2nd of June, there was a Gwoza massacre. Terrorists killed more than 300 persons, and exactly it's in Gwoza that Abubakar Shekau, the then leader of Boko Haram, declared Gwoza as a caliphate. That was on the 24th of August 2014, about a decade ago. So we see that Gwoza for the terrorist represents home. The emir was killed because he had condemned Gwoza, and we had seen a lot of activities that had led up to Abubakar Shekau declaring Gwoza as a caliphate. Now, what had happened between 2015 to 2020, the military under Major General Chris Olukolade had confirmed that the army had retaken Gwoza on the 27th of March 2015. Despite that, about 2 years after, we had explosions in IDP camps, killing 5 persons. Women have been abducted along Gwoza, 2018. And it took several years for the 4th emir, who was the son of the 3rd emir that was killed, for him to return home. He only returned home on the 15th of July 2019. And 6 months after, we had twin suicide bombers attacking another mosque in Gwoza. So we've seen within this other 5-year block, 2015 to 2020, the terrorists still trying to keep a hold on Gwoza, a grip that they were losing, despite them trying to declare Gwoza a caliphate in August 2020. Between 2020 to date, before these multiple bombings happened in the last 48 hours, we had seen an attack in Gwoza in 2021. We had seen just during the election, just before the election, terrorists had attacked voters February 2023. But 2 key events has happened in the last 1 year. The first is President Buhari has signed a bill to establish a Federal College of Education in Gwoza. A great move that the governor had also supported, but for the terrorists, this was trying to attack what they perceived to be their ground, and the military as well had killed a wanted terrorist leader, Abu Assad, in Gwoza. So if you look at exactly what has been going on in Gwoza, especially a focus on the last 12 months, whereby the signing of a bill where the governor is saying that though the terrorists feel Gwoza is their caliphate, the caliphate had been brought down and education would reign supreme in Gwoza. The military had killed Abu Assad, who was a wanted leader. And so clearly what we see is that the terrorists are attempting to make a statement. They are attempting to fight back, looking way back to what had even happened in 2014, where Abu Shekau had declared the caliphate in Gwoza. So in all, Gwoza means a lot to the terrorists, but beyond what it means to the terrorists, Gwoza is a Nigerian town that is no longer a caliphate, and the state government, the local government, the emirs, the traditional rulers, and the federal government is ensuring that education, not terrorism, reigns supreme in Gwoza. But beyond all of this, especially what has happened in the last 24 hours, we also see, which we've seen, that the Chief of Army Staff is commenting on these events. We've also seen the Chief of defense staff take a position on that this is a fight just beyond Nigeria and the terrorists is a fight between good and evil. A lot of people have asked, why Goza? Beyond Goza, if you take a look at what exactly is going on along Borno's 27 local governments, 2 other local governments come out as part of the local governments the terrorists use to try to conduct their activities. Bama and Damboa. If you look at along those lines, Damboa, Goza, and Bama. Goza comes out in the middle, clearly because of its ease of escape for the terrorists into Cameroon. Second, because of the terrain. You have the Mandara Hills there, you have mountains, and the third, which is one of the reasons why the terrorists keep trying to use Goza, is because of the population. Excluding Maiduguri, which is the capital of Borno, looking at the census figures, Goza has the highest population. It is the most populated local government in Borno State, excluding Maiduguri, going by the census. So for the terrorists, there are a lot of activities there. It is easy for them to hide. It's close to Cameroon. It's easy for them to escape. And the relationship between Damboa and Bama allows them to flow fluidly because of the scope and the size of that land. So those are that's in essence is the summary of what exactly has happened in Goza within the last 10 years.
But let's talk about the progress already made by the armed forces, of course, in Borno State and other states experiencing these threats of violent extremists.
We can look at it these 2 ways. We can look at the information that the Defense Headquarters has put out. We can also look at what the people feel. Let's take a look at the recent statistics released by the Defense Headquarters about how much progress they are making on the fight against terrorism. If we focus on those numbers, in the first 3 months of the year, 1,241 citizens were rescued. That improved in the second quarter. Approximately 2,000 citizens were rescued. On the summary this year, January to June, on an average, 18 Nigerians are rescued every day by the armed forces. What about terrorists killed? Over 2,300 in the first quarter. In the first half, approximately 4,600. On an average, 26 terrorists are killed every day. Terrorists are arrested. January to June, on an average, 33 terrorists are arrested every day. The challenge, Anne, is we're seeing this good performance from the army. The challenge is we're killing terrorists, but there's a large reserve of terrorists. Plus, based on the poverty and out-of-school children numbers, a lot more are getting recruited faster than we are neutralizing this terrorists. So that is the challenge. Yes, a lot are going down, but a lot more are being recruited. That is the perspective if you look at the statistics from the Defense Headquarters. However, how do the people feel? Before this attack, let's look at the opinion polls, especially do Nigerians feel they are getting safer? And the most recent polls from citizens shows that citizens in the northeast, southwest, south-south, and southeast say security is improving. It's about the same feedback compared to last year in May in the north central, and it's in the northwest that we see citizens complain that security is not improving. So in all, prior to this attack, across the 6 geopolitical zones, 4 zones were showing positive, 1 in the red, and 1 neutral. The challenge we have today is that zone, the northeast, that 61% of citizens said security is improving. It is now in the northeast that this challenge of female suicide bombs exactly in Borno, in Goza and Borno, that we see this concern. So we're going to be waiting for the new polls to come out to look at how citizens are feeling with reference to security.
All right, but quickly before, just in a minute, what should the government do? What can be done at the moment to help these families feel safer?
One of the things Professor Shoyinka had said is talking about preaching Boko Halal, which is education is good. The governor of Borno State, Governor Zulum, has been doing a lot of that, and that's one of the reasons why he insisted that the Federal College of Education will be situated in Goza to make a point. So we need to keep improving and expanding the vision. And I would want even a newer vision for Borno, whereby Borno should do all it can to become the most educated, perhaps the most literate state in Nigeria. And so, yes, we've seen a lot of programs being done by the local and state government, but the state government now needs to have a new vision for the state. In the final analysis, let's not forget, there's still a social, religious problem in Borno that needs to be solved. Out-of-school children and poverty. Anne.
All right. Thank you very much. Babajide Ogunsanwo, founder of Leadership by Data and, of course, Channel 7 Vision's data analyst. Thanks for your time on the News at 10.